Happy Sunday. It's actually a little over a week since I got back to my apartment. That is why the setup is a little different. So I'm back here because I'm going to school again. I just had my first week of school last week, but because I just got back and I'm a lot more in like the flow of a routine and stuff, I really wanted to start a new reading vlog. I thought it'd be fun to do like a weekly one and see everything that I read in a week. Also because I've been reading some really good stuff lately. Like I really got out of my mini slump and I'm reading such good stuff now. Like my last few reads were really good, so really happy about that. I'm currently reading 3 books, but kind of only one. Let me explain. So I'm reading with my eyes this book called The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics, and then I've been reading Black Girl Call Home. This is a poetry book, so I've just been like reading it randomly, so I'm not like, you know, I'm not sitting here reading it every day. I just pick it up every once in a while. I've been listening to Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour, but my main focus has been this book. I started it 2 days ago. I only read like a chapter yesterday because the first day I read like 120 pages, which is so unlike me for like the first day of reading. I usually don't get that far in, but I really like this. Like I literally love this. I've never heard of it before and it looks like kind of cheesy, you know? It's not cheesy, like read whatever the fuck you want, you know? But I'm such like, I judge a book by its cover. Like I will openly say that, like I judge a book hard by its cover, okay? But I'll still give it a chance even if it doesn't have a good cover, but like my first initial judgment, I'm gonna judge the cover, you know what I mean? But I don't hate this cover. I actually was like, I don't know, I was interested in it because it looked like those romance books that you see all over the place, but it had 2 women on it, so I was like, this looks interesting, let's look up the Goodreads reviews. And it had really good reviews and I started reading it and it's honestly so interesting. Like I already knew I would like it just because like it's about these 2 women, they're in the 18th century, obviously it's a love story and it's like historical fiction, which just sounds really cool to me. But I didn't know if like I was gonna love the writing or anything like that, or like what the other plot would be other than the romance, you know? But this is honestly one of the most interesting books I've read and I really like it so far. One, I really love the characters. I feel like the characters are very interesting, very fleshed out, like they both have really distinct personalities. I also really love the writing, which I wasn't expecting, and I like it a lot. Like I actually find it really impressive. Like I feel like it's a really unique style of writing and this author does such a good job of like putting you in the mind of like being in the 18th century. I also really enjoy the way this author approaches queerness in the 18th century. It's about this girl, Lucy, who her father was an astronomer, but he just passed away. And Lucy, her lover, just got married to this guy. And so they just kind of like broke up, right? So Lucy's father dies and he's a part of this like science society at this point, but you know, he passes away and they reach out to Lucy being like, you know, we were gonna have your father help translate this text for us, and it's like this big text, this huge like book about astronomy and like the mathematics involved. They ask her if she has any like recommendations, like anyone she knows that like worked with her father or whatever, but she was really the only one who ever worked with her father and she like did a lot of the work. And so it's really cool because she ends up going to the woman who sends her this letter, because the woman who sends her this letter is Catherine, who her husband was a part of this like science society as well, but he passed away 2 years ago, so she's a widow, but she is still like a part of this society, like she still gives them like money and stuff. So she sends this letter to Lucy and Lucy is like, I really want to do it and I think I have to go in person to like kind of convince them. And so she ends up going to Catherine's and kind of like telling her how she's done all this work for her father, and Catherine actually really like stands by her and thinks she should like, you know, pursue this thing that she wants even though she's a woman. And so Catherine actually really ends up advocating for Lucy even when it goes, you know, not so well, because she's a woman who wants to work in science in the 18th century and they hated women. So Catherine really goes all in as soon as like the Science Society is really rude to Lucy. She's like, okay, well, I'm not helping fund this anymore, and I think you're all wrong. And she's like, I want Lucy to stay with me and I'll publish the book. And what I really like also is that Lucy wants to translate the text into something not only astronomers and scientists can read. And I find that part really interesting because she ends up not just translating the text, but like adding a bunch to it so that like the general population can understand it. And it like brings up this whole conversation of like, shouldn't everyone get the chance to like have this sort of education, because you never know like who could be the next mind to come up with something. And basically, you know, she ends up staying with Catherine and they like start getting close and like one thing leads to the other, you know. It is so good. It is literally so good, and it's just like straight up queer joy. And I'm really hoping that there's no like unnecessary angst or miscommunication or anything, because I just feel like it's not necessary. But I'm like definitely worried that like something's gonna happen and it's gonna make me upset, because that's what usually happens in like romance books, you know. They just have like to throw that in there. So it's the middle of the day now. I haven't done much. I like showered and did laundry. It's the weekend, so I'm kind of just like hanging back right now and really enjoying it because I had such a busy week. But I'm definitely gonna read a little. I think I'm gonna eat. And I actually started watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire last night because of this. I'll admit it, okay? I watched half of that last night, so I might try and finish that today. Yeah, we'll see. It's so good. Like, obviously, and I don't have to tell you that, but I'll keep y'all updated and just bring you along throughout my week of reading. I just sat down to read this, like, just now, and I literally just read, like, the first paragraph of chapter 8, and they're joining a book club. How exciting! They're literally joining a reading club for ladies that they do in the back of a bookstore. How cute. Oh my god, I want to join a reading club for ladies.
How many times have I cried inside my...
Hello, it is Monday, the next day. I went to the library today. I had one class, but it was just a Zoom class, but I still went to the library to do it because I wanted to like get some stuff done and I wanted to read there. I love reading in the library. I know, crazy, I know. It's revolutionary. Who has ever tried it? I'm currently on page 220 and it is just getting so good. It already was so good and it just keeps getting better. The plot is moving along, but also like so much of the plot is just their relationship building and them just like doing stuff together. I also love the conversations about science and art that they have in this book. It's so interesting and they're both such prevalent themes in this book. One thing that I love is that Lucy is an astronomer, so you know, she's an astronomer, she's into science, and she's a genius. She's so smart. And then Catherine, she, you know, was just a wife. Like, you know, that's how everyone saw her. She was just this wife. Then when she meets Lucy and she actually kind of like confides in Lucy that she has a hobby of embroidering, and she shows her all this stuff she's embroidered like all her life, like so many things that she's just like come up with and created. And Lucy is like, this is art, like this is literally art, like you're an artist. And Catherine can't really accept that. She's like, no, I'm not, like I'm not an artist, like no one would think I'm an artist. And Lucy's like, but you are, like this is art. And it's just such an interesting conversation about like what's more important, art or science, and like what's the point of art. This last chapter that I read, I actually didn't finish it yet, but The chapter before this, it ended when they were deciding they're gonna go on vacation back to Lucy's hometown. So in this chapter, they're at Lucy's house and they're like on this little vacation. And what I really like about this chapter so far is that they actually end up meeting Lucy's like ex-girlfriend basically. And Catherine, you know, deals with a lot of, you know, insecurities and jealousy, and Lucy is so reassuring to her, and just the way this is written is just so beautiful. Like the way it's just depicting love is just so good. I stopped because they literally were about to like get down, and I was in the school library and I was like, could I read this in the school library? Like, will I be able to handle that, right? And I wanted to keep reading this, but then I tried. So I did attempt to read it. I read like literally half of a page and I was like, oh my god, no, like I actually have to be alone to read this. Hello, welcome to my kitchen. I decided, because I have a lot of rotten bananas, because I always tell myself I'm gonna eat all of them. I promise myself over and over again I'm gonna eat all of them when I buy them at the grocery store, and then I literally never ever do, ever. But I did look up a banana bread recipe to see, you know, if we have the ingredients, and we do. So I'm gonna make some banana bread. I'm also gonna make some ramen because it's getting kind of late and I need to eat, you know? Okay, so you're like supposed to, you know, separate wet and dry ingredients. I'm fully not going to do that. Let's start with these eggies. Wait, what should I mix them with? I only have 3 whisks. Honestly though, why? Okay, let's beat these eggs. That makes such a horrible noise. I hope this like works out. I don't know. I'm worried. I'm like trying to crush it a little with my hands. I don't know why. I hate the feeling of that, so kind of regret that. But actually like kind of hate baking / cooking / doing anything in the kitchen, because I literally hate making a mess and having to clean it up. So I like do it as I'm doing it, and it's just like so anxiety inducing. Does that make sense? Let's just smash these boys. Not excited about the whole flour stitch. Just feel like that's gonna not be fun. Also, do I have a hand mixer? Absolutely not. I do not have a hand mixer, no. But I do have a hand. Is that what that's called? A hand mixer? Now I'm like questioning everything I know. Is that what it's called? All right, so let me just fill you in. I finished that chapter that I was in the middle of, and it's actually funny because what I mentioned about like them talking about science and art came up a lot at the end of this chapter, and Catherine was actually like, I think I might start considering myself an artist, and talking about how like Lucy helped her realize that and like set her free. Did the flour, hello, can you not do that? Did the flour, did the baking soda, didn't do that. There's gonna be some beeping happening very soon. See? My intuition, man. This is looking pretty good. Like, this is a texture. Pretty solid. And the oven's preheated. So how long does this bad boy gotta go in for? Great, love this. I get to lick the bowl. Also, I don't care that it has raw eggs. So leave me alone. Yes! Okay, well, now I'm gonna eat my ramen and just wait for my banana bread to bake. I'm really excited. I hope she comes out very cute and very yummy, and edible. All right, so we got the ramen right here. Very excited about this, honestly. And the banana bread, cheese on the way. So now I think I'm just gonna eat and like watch something. I think I might watch like a true crime video because I'm such like, that's my guilty pleasure, is watching like true crime videos. Gonna get some water. So I have asked this in a previous reading vlog, so I will ask it again because it is relevant. What is the Taylor Swift song stuck in your head today? Because right now I currently have I Think He Knows stuck in my head. I know, random one, right? But it's so stuck in my head. Anyway, let me know what Taylor Swift song is stuck in your head because that's very important information to me. I did finish Portrait of a Lady on Fire last night and oh my god, how is that the way it ends? It's gonna come on. Oh. We have to watch an ad for no reason.
Hey guys, it's Bella.
Hey.
Welcome back to my channel.
I'm actually not gonna watch this video though. What should I watch? These are all about murder, which, like, you know, is fine and all, but I'm scared.
My car. How many times have you made me cry and want to die inside my car? My car. What if I got in an accident? Would you have to pay my fine?
Today, I pretty much did the same exact thing as yesterday. I went to class. I had one in-person class today though, but then I was at the library for hours where I did indeed finish this book. I loved it so much. I grew so attached to it, and just there wasn't a second where I was like dreading it or dreading reading the next chapter. Like every chapter, every page, every line I savored. Yesterday I read like this chapter right before I went to bed, and it was like this moment of conflict happened and I was having a heart attack, but it did get like solved and fixed rather quickly. It just totally avoided like having this like layer of trauma, you know? So I really appreciated that the author just like kept this happy, and the way this ended was so perfect. Any way that I thought this book would have like gone south, it did the complete opposite. Like it hit every nail on the head. It was so good. Things that I didn't think were gonna happen because it would have been too good to happen, happened. And the ending of this was just so good. Like I really was just like crying in the campus library. Anyone else? And I still have to go back and highlight a bunch of this because when I'm reading, I'll highlight the top line and then the bottom line of like whatever I want to highlight because it takes me a long time. I don't like to like stop. So I'll just do that and then go back and highlight it. And I'm just like so not ready to do that because it's just gonna like make me relive it, and like my heart is raw. I literally told my friend like I feel like the same, you know, pain and suffering that you feel from the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo after reading this. Like this hit me just as hard. So safe to say I did give this 5 stars, and I wrote a little review on Goodreads which kind of sums up my thoughts a little more. So now is the time where I have to pick out the next book I'm gonna read, but like honestly, like I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I'm in a mourning period. Like I'm literally not ready to move on. So I actually do know the book I want to read next because I was thinking about this beforehand. So I did decide that I'm gonna read Blackout, which is this like short story collection basically by all these Black authors, and it's basically 6 short stories about like Black young teenagers falling in love. And the cover without the dust jacket is so cool. It looks like this. Oh my god, I love it. I chose this because I was like, all right, it's short stories and it's like a bunch of little short love stories, so I feel like that could like be a little bit of a breath of fresh air. I just don't feel like I could jump into like a long book right now because I literally need to, you know, like I need to pay my respects. I am really excited about this. I know that 2 of the stories in this are queer, so that's super exciting. And I'm just sure it's going to be great. I actually haven't read anything from any of these authors. I have wanted to, and I've heard of like all of their novels, but I haven't read anything from them. So I'm super excited to like, you know, get a taste of all of their writing styles. So for now, it's a little after 5 and I just got home, and I literally left my house this morning at 8:30, so I'm so tired. I really just think I'm about to lay around, as I should. It is around 8 o'clock now. I think it's a little after 8. I just showered and I'm making some food right now, but I wanted to update y'all because I started listening to a little bit more of Watch Over Me, and I'm now, I think, 44% of the way through, and I am really liking it, but I'm having a hard time like feeling attached to it, which is kind of a shame because I can tell the book is like really beautiful and really moving, and I know a lot of people love it. It's basically about this girl, our main character Mila. Right at the beginning of the book, she's leaving her current foster home and going to this new foster home that's on this farm and has like a bunch of other kids there. And so you're just kind of like following her journey there and like learning more about her. There's only about like 3-ish hours left in the audiobook, so I'm sure I'll finish it soon, which is exciting. Anyway, yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm probably not gonna read anymore. Tomorrow, I'm just kind of doing the same thing. I'm going to school and sitting in the library, so yeah, it's gonna be super fun to relive the same day over and over again. All right, well, good night, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Pay my rent. Can the cops see in my head? Can they see that what you said affected my death? Ooh, my death.
Hello. It is... what day is it? Wednesday. It's September 1st, Wednesday. And I, you know, did the same thing today. I went to school, you know, the whole thing. But actually, when I was going to school today, like throughout my whole commute, I was listening to Watch Over Me, and I ended up actually finishing it. I feel like kind of unsure about how I feel about it because on one hand, like I said yesterday, I kind of felt like not super attached to like what was going on, but today I did like grow a little more attached to like some of the characters' relationships and this whole concept of the book. You know, it really centers around the theme of healing from trauma and all these like, you know, kids coming together, this whole like found family vibe. It also has a little bit of like magical realism. It like deals with ghosts, but not in like a scary way or like in a horror way. It's more like there's ghosts and they'll like talk about seeing them and they have like meaning in the book, but it's not something they're like afraid of. I did like how the whole ghost thing kind of came together at the end. It like had a really kind of profound meaning at the end that I thought was really cool. It's really hard for me to rate books when I listen to them on audio. Like, I don't know if anyone else is like this, but it's just so difficult for me because I really don't feel like I get the full picture, like at all. Like, I know I don't, because some stuff just goes right over my head. I read some reviews and like tried to compare how I felt to like other people, and I did end up landing on 4 stars. Today I also started Blackout. I didn't get too far into it, but I did start it. I'm in like the 2nd chapter, and it's really cool like how it's coming together, and already like the characters have such a distinct voice. They're so likable, and the way I've only read so far 2 chapters, like I said, so 2 different authors, but the way the 2 authors like made it work together, like it's just really impressive. Hi friends, happy Thursday. It's really exciting that it's Thursday because that means it's the end of my school week this week, so I'm really excited about that. And I have a 4-day weekend, so I'm literally so hype. I just got back. It's 5, which is so tragic, but I did end up reading more of Blackout, and I'm actually like almost halfway through, I think. I really like how all the characters are kind of coming together. I originally thought that it was gonna be like short stories, but it's like short stories kind of like split up and then like they all kind of blend together. The last one I just read was definitely my favorite. It was really cute. I highlighted so much of it. And it's interesting too because the book is called Blackout because the plot of the book is that there's a blackout that happens in New York City, and that's what kind of like catapults all these events into happening. I'm gonna film my August wrap up in a little bit, and what else am I gonna do? I don't know. I'm probably just gonna read and like watch TV and eat food. That's what I do every day. Also, when I went grocery shopping yesterday, I got this frozen pizza because I love myself, and literally it's like, you know, just your average frozen pizza, but it has croissant crust. So that intrigued me a lot. I love croissants. Maybe I'll like watch something. I was thinking about watching Birds of Prey because, well, I'm currently obsessed with Harley Quinn. So that's just like my current obsession. Like I always have to have like 1 to 3 going at all times, you know? Yeah, I watched the animated series on HBO Max in the beginning of August, and I've literally rewatched it 3 times already. So I'm just like really in the flow of that. I watched like all the old Batman episodes just with Harley Quinn because I don't give a fuck about Batman. Okay, so that's been fun for me. So I'm thinking about watching that movie, but like I'm kind of like, I don't know if y'all are like this, but I don't love when I see animated shows first, or an animated show comes first and then they make a movie with like people, like a live action movie. Like something about that I just don't like at all. Like I much prefer the animated show, so I don't know if like I'll like it as much, but I think it'll still be fun. So I might do that. We'll see. It's time for my pizza. Really exciting stuff. It's literally like 9 p.m. already. I don't understand the concept of time. Like, how did that happen so quickly? This is what she looks like. Just, you know, your ordinary pizza. Except the crust is special. You can tell. Timer, 24 minutes it said. So I'm gonna do 23, just to be safe. My pizza has survived. She's right here. You can't really see her, but she's beautiful, I promise. Now I'm trying to decide whether to watch Birds of Prey or, oh man, I have to sneeze. Okay, now that I just breathed life back into me after that, I'm trying to decide whether to watch Birds of Prey or to just watch another like episode of Harley. It's literally just my comfort show, so I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Friday today. I would say good morning, but it's literally 5 p.m. I stayed up pretty late last night, so I woke up at like 10 today, but then I went back to sleep and didn't wake up until 1:30, and that is the latest I've slept in so long. However, last night I did end up watching Birds of Prey, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch like maybe half of it. I just never really watch movies. I don't really have like the attention span for it. But I was like, okay, I'll watch half of it. But I just ended up like really liking it. I couldn't stop watching it. I watched the whole thing and it was so good. Tell me why it was so good. So that was really fun. I liked it a lot, and now it's the next day. Clearly, I ate breakfast, I showered. I actually read some of Black Girl Call Home. Also last night, I began highlighting some of my stuff from The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics, and let me just say, like, highlighting it and like reading it while I was highlighting it was just like driving me crazy. Like that reading experience was just so good, and like rereading some of my favorite parts was just so nice. I also forgot to mention yesterday on my walk to school, I started listening to My Sister the Serial Killer, so I've been listening to that a little more today. I'm like right at the beginning, I'm like 20% in. It's pretty short, but it's nice because it has really short chapters, and basically all you know so far is that like this main character's sister killed her boyfriend, and she's like kind of discovering like that because it has been like a reoccurring thing that maybe her sister is a serial killer. I'm definitely gonna read more of Blackout today, and definitely more of this. I think I want to try finishing this because it's so easy to get through. So yeah, we'll see where the day takes us, and I'll let you know how it goes. Hello everyone. It is Saturday, and I've had a, you know, kind of weird weekend. I pretty much have been sleeping for most of it. Yesterday I just, you know, I read and did all that, and then I hung out with my roommate and we watched Steven Universe and Harley Quinn. I had breakfast and then I watched the new Kendall Rae video that came out. I love Kendall Rae. She's like the one I watch when it comes to true crime. And then I edited my last 2 videos that I filmed for a long time. Like I just sat there and was doing that for a while. I read a chapter and a half of Blackout, and I actually did finish Black Girl Call Home yesterday, and it was so great. This poetry book is amazing. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Now I'm going to take a shower, and I think I'll read a little bit more of Blackout. Yeah, that's how my day's been so far. I've just been like, you know, kind of doing nothing because it's the weekend and I look like this. So
How many times have I tried to heal the scar?
it is Sunday. It is kind of late afternoon at this point. I have been reading Blackout today. I'm on page 230 and there's around 245 pages, so I'm really excited to finish. It's definitely been just like a really easy, lighthearted read, like not something I have to just like sit around and think about too hard, or something I'm getting super attached to. It's just like a nice, light, fluffy kind of read. Hi there, it is sometime later and I have finished Blackout, which is very exciting, and I really just like hung around. I cleaned the kitchen, then I took a shower, and now I've been trying to figure out what book to read next. I'm in between giving it like a 3 or a 4 star. I'm leaning more towards 3 stars, only because I feel like there were only really 3 stories in here that I really liked. The 3 of my favorites that I really liked were Mask Off by Nick Stone. This is the second one we read. And then Made to Fit by Ashley Woodfolk. The last one I really liked was called All the Great Love Stories and Dust, and this one I really liked because it had like footnotes and then it would have writing in the footnotes. I just thought the style of it was really cool. But for now, I've been trying to think about what to read next, and this has been such a hard decision, okay? Because let me show you what I'm up against. So I've pretty much narrowed it down to 2 books, so like at least there's that, you know? But basically, I have been thinking about rereading a romance. So my first choice is to reread Satisfaction Guaranteed. I've been dying to reread this since the second I finished it. It was so good. This was a 5-star book for me. And the other option is to read Crier's War. This one I just got really recently. I love the cover. I think it's so stunning. I'm really excited to read this. It's also like fantasy, and I don't read a lot of fantasy, but like when I do, I am very intrigued. This is where like the decision-making process must occur, because I'm like, okay, I want to read a romance. This would be fun. This would be nothing but good times. This, on the other hand, might be like a little angsty, a little slow burn. Like, I don't know if that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? So this is a hard decision. I'm leaning towards reading Satisfaction Guaranteed. I am very excited to read this though, and I'm so excited that it has a second book. This is probably what I'm gonna read right after this, if I'm being honest. I'm very excited to start my new book tomorrow, hopefully. And that concludes this week's reading vlog. It's already Sunday. Time to start the whole week all over again. Super exciting stuff. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I read in this vlog and what you think. And I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye.